song. Oh, hallelujah, I know it, that the good Lord wrote it for a good old boy like me. On the back porch, sipping on a cold beer, listening to some home sweet harmony. About a north wind blowing through a patch of pines, whippoorwill singing about summertime, raindrops drumming on rusty tin, flathead dragging out 20-pound string like, whoa, strike up the fire, somebody cue the crickets in the creek bank choir. Gotta get back 'cause it's been too long. That's my favorite country song. Oh, I said that's my favorite country song.
I've been doing better, I hardly ever think of you lately. It ain't all sunshine. When you cross my mind, I start missing you like crazy. I try to numb the pain, but there ain't no damn way. I end up in that place and I'm just one whiskey away. And I don't mind if I do drink up the nerve to show up at your house. If you wanna know the truth, it's killing me not holding you right now. I'm one memory away from falling all the way apart, 'cause I might still love you. I hope you don't mind if I do. I almost quit drinking. For a while I quit thinking about you. I got a little sleep, but some nights I can't control it. Sometimes I give in because not having you is hard on me. But when I give in to that vice and pour another over ice, well girl, I know that's when I'll start missing you again. And I don't mind if I do drink up the nerve and show up at your house. If you wanna know the truth, it's killing me not holding you right now. And I'm one memory away from falling all the way apart, 'cause I might still love you. I hope you don't mind if I do. Need you to pick me up when I'm covered in that goodbye dust. You're the only thing to get me through.
Well, I don't mind if you do. Drank a little too much to show up at my house. It'd be nice to hear the truth. Is it killing you not holding me right now? If falling into me is the only thing you think is gonna get you through, then I don't mind if you do. I don't mind.
From Milan to Sunman to Morris, proud to be your country home. Country 103.9 WRBI.
All it takes is a downtown bar. All it takes is some neon stars. A little you, a little me, in the same vicinity. And it's on. Everyone is the first last time. Walk away, then we hit rewind. A little touch, a little buzz. Don't know what keeps keeping
We say it, then the telephone rings. Hello, are you at home? 'Cause I'm all alone missing you. We swear it ain't love, 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 but you'll deal when the sun comes up. We swear it ain't love, 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 but it always comes back to us. Is it your heart or mine? Is it whiskey or wine? Is it something in the night making us wanna cross that line? Girl, playing with fire, love ain't too far behind. It's just a matter of time till it finds your heart or mine. We swear it ain't love, love, love. We swear it ain't love, love, love. Is it your heart or mine? Is it whiskey or wine? Is it something in the night making us wanna cross that line? Girl, playing with fire, love ain't too far behind. It's just a matter of time till it finds your heart or mine. Your heart or mine.
I need a new truck. There ain't nothing wrong with mine. It's got 40-some thousand miles and the engine runs just fine. No, it ain't tore up, ain't got a scratch, ain't got a dent. The radio works, it don't show dirt, worth every dime I spend. I was gonna drive it till the wheels fell off. Yeah, that was before she slammed the door, said it's over, then got lost. I need one she ain't climbed up in, that ain't played her favorite songs. Need some glass that we ain't fogged up, that her bare feet ain't been on. I need a hug that we ain't laid on, kiss until that sun came up. That's all that's wrong with this one. If you're looking, you're in luck. I need a new truck. Yeah, I need it right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Can't take another red light with her memory over in that seat. If I find one more,
WRBI Batesville, Greensburg, Versailles, Brookville now presents Southeastern Indiana's longest running and most listened to sports show. It's Coach's Corner, broadcasting live from the Coach Raver Corner at Ison's Family Pizza. Listen on 103.9 FM or the WRBI app. And now you can watch the show happen live too at WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. Here is the host of Coach's Corner, Coach Rob LaFerry.
And welcome to the friendly confines of the Raver Corner at Ison's Family Pizza. It's another Monday night of Coach's Corner here as we are inside now the month of November, and with that comes a lot of basketball talk tonight, but we've also got football on the slate as well. Rob LaFerry with you for another Monday. We've got a full lineup tonight. Let's go ahead and get into it. Joined by Oldenburg Academy boys basketball head coach Michael Higdon, also the athletic director at Oldenburg. And, Coach, before we talk about the basketball season from your athletic director standpoint, what a fall it was for Oldenburg Academy sports. You got girls soccer, boys soccer, and regionals. Cross country, they've got some runners who advanced to the regional, a very successful fall, and plus, and throw in that volleyball program, a lot of good things happening for the Twisters.
Yeah, it was a great fall. Volleyball, they were ranked in the top 10 most of the year. Obviously, girls soccer makes it to the regional championship. Boys make it to regional. We had 5 cross country runners make it. Tennis, even them, we only had 6 kids, but we still won. We were just slightly under 500. So it was a good fall, and the cool thing is most of those kids all go on and play stuff in the winter. So,
talked to David Disborough last week. We talked about the girls basketball program. That was actually one of the topics we discussed was, really no layover. There's been all that success, and they have to jump right in to the winter sports. I know he had discussed, the possibility of the survey being sent out by the Coaches Association of pushing girls basketball back. What do you see from your standpoint, not even as a coach, but as an athletic director? How do you view kind of the ongoings of how that might be changing the landscape a little bit?
Yeah, for boys, it's not as bad because, even if you make it to the soccer state championships, were just this past Saturday, so that would be most of my boys. And they would still at least have a week, but all the tennis kids and soccer kids, once they got out, we've been going with everybody for about 3 weeks or so. But yeah, for girls, it's tough because there's no time. And then, all the girls volleyball team has to do is make it to the, just a sectional championship, and then you're back-to-back weeks. It's interesting.
Talk about boys basketball. That's why we're primarily here tonight with you on. And again, Michael Higdon, Oldenburg Academy boys basketball. Go back to last season, 14-10 on the year, back-to-back winning seasons, a narrow 2-point loss to Milan in sectional play. But, last year you had some really good pieces to that team, and overall another successful campaign for the Twisters. Yeah,
we had 8 seniors. So those are 8 guys gone. We've got 1 kid returning that started from last year. So we've got a lot of shoes to fill, especially, like Henry Wanstroth. He averaged about 18 and almost 10. He's our all-time leading rebounder, who's about 60 points away from 1,000 points. We lost quite a bit just in terms of in leadership too. But it's been pretty cool. We only have 2 seniors this year with Adam Dennis and Jack Freeland. But Jack, he played a lot for us last year, and he's kind of taken on the leadership role, which has been kind of cool to see. And then we've got obviously Adam Weber. He's back. He's been starting for us since a freshman.
Talk about some of the guys that they're going to have stepping in. The good thing is with the way the offseason works anymore, you've got a whole summer with these kids. You've got open gyms, you've got workouts. So they're not just coming in here with no knowledge of how this program works. You have had the extra time spent with them to get them accustomed to Twister basketball.
Yeah, this summer I think we've played the most we've ever played since I've been here for sure. Just because we had so many new guys coming in. It's being able to score a lot in JV and being able to defend in JV versus varsity it's a big change. So it was good to get those guys a lot of extra games. But we got David Cook back. He stepped up defensively for us big time last year, and I look for him to do that again. Justin Dietz was the other one who he played a little bit of varsity, not a ton. He's kind of back and forth. He'll have to step up big time for us too. He's a good defender, strong kid, and he can guard kids, a lot bigger than he is, which helps. And then we got a transfer moving from Cincinnati. He moved into Indiana, and then he was at Christian school there, and then wanted to come over to OA. He had gone to St. John's, so he knew some of the kids on the team. So he's going to step in. He's probably about 6'3", but he plays mainly on the perimeter, which has been. It's been kind of cool. He's done a good job of facilitating, working with the guys, and he can hit from outside a little bit. Then we got obviously Adam Dennis is our other senior. We look for him to step up and provide some energy off the bench. You got Ray Walkie, who's going to step in as a sophomore. He had a really good year on the JV last year. Wally Peralta, he's a junior this year. He was a sophomore last year on JV. He's gotten a ton better this summer. He's been good. And then Carson Hartwell, he played for us on JV last year, and he's really taken a step forward. He's gotten a lot more aggressive.
And as you guys have gotten these reps, summer ball is always a great opportunity for you guys to go out and play teams that are not going to be on that schedule. For you guys coming up this winter, we just talked before the show started. You go up north to play this summer. You play a lot of ball games, but you see some really good competition. And for you guys being a small Class A school, it's a great experience, number one. Number two, it prepares you for some of those battles you'll face in the wintertime.
Yeah. I mean, they went up and, it wasn't the first game, but the first game of the second day, we had to play Blackhawk Christian, who's, 3-time state champ in the last 4 years. But they just kept competing. We won't be very tall. We'll have to play quicker. Look to shoot the three a little bit more than we have in the past. We've always played basically through Henry and the post. So it's an adjustment for me too, because that's what I'm used to. But I think playing at a faster pace this year is going to help us. And going up and playing those big teams, and we scrimmage Batesville. We're going to go play. Our first two games are Switsco at home, and then we're going to go play at Newcastle and play them our second game of the year. So it's going to be a good experience for them, I think.
First official practice is Monday. You guys are bringing in the whole roster that you've had now in the offseason, which will translate now to official practice next week. Talk about expectations for the program. What are you trying to instill early on with your program?
I think the guys that have been around, they know, they've seen, the guys that are juniors now, they got to see Connor Miles and how Connor Miles and Jacob Cornelius and those guys worked. And I think that's made a big impact, just kind of a trickle-down effect on a lot of those guys, just seeing how hard they worked. Because it's definitely noticeable that, some of those juniors that, didn't really have much of a voice as sophomores last year are really kind of stepping up. And, I think a lot of people are going to assume that we're going to be down, and I don't think those guys want that to be the case. I can set expectations, but they've pretty much met them, and they know we're going to compete, and they know we're going to defend, and we're going to look to try to shoot more than we have in the past. I'm going to have to get used to that, but they'll play hard every game. They love basketball. I think that's one of the best things about this group is, even because I had to coach tennis this year, so I'm doing those practices, and then I got some of the guys that aren't in a fall sport, and they're like, Coach, when can we when can we have some? I'm like, guys, just relax, we'll get there. These guys just some of them have been getting in every morning and shooting, and I think it'll be a fun year.
You mentioned the home opener for you guys, which is also your first game of the season, November 25th. That'll be home against Switzerland County. The good thing is this year there's no Cam Craig around at Switzerland County, so one less guy for you to prepare for there for the Pacers. But, then you followed up one night later. You're getting to play at the Fieldhouse at Newcastle, which is an incredible experience for any high school basketball player in Indiana. But then you even go a step further a couple months later. You guys are scheduled to play at the Hoosier Gym against Morristown on January 17th. So, as you are playing, you do realize these are high school kids. So, whether it's a win or a loss, as the season goes along, these kids are also going to be introduced to some really cool experiences.
Yeah, we went up to Newcastle this summer. I know Coach Luce pretty well up there. So he brought, obviously they were there. And then he brought Joe Luce's team down from, not Tibby Valley. Where'd he go? Wawasee brought them down. So we thought we were going to get to play in the Fieldhouse, and then they were changing the floor out. So we had to play in their tiny little oxygen with no AC. So the guys were like, we got to play there. So, and we did the same thing last year. We're doing a home, or not a home and home, but an away and away, I guess, with Connorsville. So they'll get to play in Spartan Bowl, the Chrysler Fieldhouse, and then they'll get to play at the Hoosiers Gym all in 1 year.
Not a bad trifecta right there
at all.
Not
bad.
Wrapping up tonight, Coach, with you, and kind of just going back to the athletic director role. We talked about the success of fall sports. I know Coach Disbro is awfully excited about that girls basketball program. The boys basketball program has had a lot of success in recent years. And you even go to spring sports. The culture just continues to build at Oldenburg Academy. How special is it right now to be a member of Twister Athletics? Yeah,
it's pretty great. It's, since I've been here, I guess I should know this, but we've won This is my 4th year.
It's a
We've
good
probably
thing that
won
you have to
over
try. It's a
10,
good thing you have to
yeah.
try and count them all up.
Right. I mean, it's been pretty cool. I mean, we've had, the boys have never lost a sectional in soccer since I've been here. And just, I think just that, and I've talked about it before, it just kind of carries over into the other sports, like you can see, and I even saw in some of my tennis guys, like they start to win some matches and then they go into a winter sport and they feel more confident. I mean, just the level of athletes that we have with the small amount of numbers is pretty incredible too. And the fact that everybody is willing to, play multiple sports, and all the coaches, we all work together really well about, doing stuff in the summer. Like Coach Disbrow said, it's a lot, but I think the kids, they enjoy it. And they know, obviously to keep up with everybody else, it's necessary.
All right, well, Coach, we'll go ahead and let you go. I'm sure this won't be the only time we get a chance to chit-chat this winter, but thanks for coming on, and we'll talk when things officially get going for Oldenburg Academy boys basketball.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Twister head coach Michael Higdon joining us as a part of Coach's Corner. We step aside, take a break. We'll talk Batesville girls basketball when we return on the Sports Voice Country 103.9 WRBI.
Simmer and sear with confidence using a Maytag freestanding electric range with 5 elements, including a 9-inch and 6-inch dual choice element, variable broil, and warming center. You can knock out mealtime in no time. The steam clean cycle and fingerprint resistant stainless steel finish makes it easy to keep clean inside and out. Shop Garings today. Garings and Maytag, 316 North Main, Batesville.
When you schedule an annual wellness visit with your Decatur County Memorial Hospital primary care provider, you can receive the most up-to-date report on the status of your health. Your family medicine provider's care is a fundamental to staying well and catching problems early. Routine preventative care can help save your life. Schedule an appointment with your DCMA's provider today.
Back to more Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, delivered by Ison's Family Pizza on 103.9 FM. Streaming audio on the WRBI app and with video on our Facebook page and at WRBI-TV.com.
And we're back at Ison's Family Pizza inside the Raver Corner on this Monday night. Rob LaFerry with you. Big thank you to Oldenburg Academy Athletic Director and boys basketball coach Michael Higdon for joining us tonight. We now switch things over to girls basketball, and the regular season for girls basketball begins this week. We're joined by Batesville head coach Mitchell Taylor, now in his 4th season at the helm. And coach, last year, incredible year for Batesville girls basketball, 16-9. Unfortunately, a semifinal loss to Jennings County in the closing seconds, 55-54. But nonetheless, a successful campaign. But as we start to talk here a little bit, great success, but a lot has changed in over a year.
Yeah, definitely. First, thanks for having me on and everything. It's always an honor to come on and talk. It's an exciting time of the year, We just ran the clocks back, and now we move into this cooler weather, and it's basketball season. It's a lot of fun. So, we're gonna look a lot different. I mean, we got a very different team. We're very young. We had quite a few girls. A handful decided not to play. We had one transfer away. I mean, a little adversity hit us this summer, but the girls that are in the gym that have been working in the past 2 weeks have been great about their effort, their attitude, and they've been putting their best foot forward. And we're really focused on what this group can do and achieve this year. And we're going to do it in a little bit different ways, but our standards are the same way that they have been the last 3 years. We're going to see what we can do. One
of the things you cannot change is the fact that each year with a senior class, you do lose some to graduation, and even if you take away a transfer and girls not deciding to come back, there were some big shoes that you're going to have to fill regardless. Sophie Gazelle, Marley Obermeyer, Allie Peters, it was a really strong senior class who did a lot of good things for you.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, all 3 of them, and I want to include Lydia Haskamp in that picture. All 4 of them, I came into the program as a JV coach this same year, their freshman year. So, there's a lot of connections I made with them and things that I asked of them as sophomores, my first year at the helm at the varsity level. And, as far as the effort they put forward and what they try to do, not just for each other, but, just the program in general, I couldn't ask for a better group to step in with and grow with as a coach. And, they taught me a lot of things about coaching that, coming in, you think you know all these things as a head coach, and there's so many things you don't know and you don't expect. And then, you get players like that who really handled things with grace and, allowed me to make mistakes, but also, when I challenged them, they stepped up to it. So you're right. It's big shoes to fill. But we've got some girls that have experience and they know the expectation and the standard. And I've been really happy with what I've seen the first 2 weeks of our season.
Well, let's talk about who is coming back for Batesville. You take a look at your roster. There's a couple names first and foremost that step out to me. Kaylin Kathman being one of them, and Nora Wiedemann. Those have been a couple girls that you have had who have really tried to take that next step going into this year. At the same time, you backtrack going back to last season. They play a pretty big role for you too.
Yeah, and I think one thing that was seamless for us is Kaylin and Nora coming in as freshmen. Their work ethic is just unmatched as far as there's no question how hard they're working day to day. They're always there. They're putting in their best effort. And I think our team has really seen that from those two. And, I want to include Ellie Westerveld in it. She can't be on the floor, but she's really been around our program even since the summer. And she's someone that got hurt in the summer and may not be able to play at any point this year. She might be able to come back late in the year. We'll see. We're always being optimistic about those types of things, but all three juniors are really setting the stage for finding ways to get better every day, and just set aside time to focus on the process of what we're trying to do and not think too far ahead. And I think Nora and Ellie and Kaylin are setting that tone, both as vocal leaders and just what they're doing on the floor.
And kind of going to what they do on the floor, Kaylin and Nora, to me, kind of have a different skill set, because Kaylin's kind of someone who can assume that leadership role on the floor, does some really good things as a floor general. Nora's just a little motor for you. If I feel like on both ends, she is just someone who is all over the place. She is a scrapper, going to be someone who's going to go to battle for you each and every night.
Without a doubt. To speak to Kaylin first, she's dynamic with the ball in her hand. She can do a lot of different things. She can create her own shot. She can get to the rim. She can create for others. So we know the offense is something that she's going to have to, as you said, be the floor general for this year. But also we know that we're going to have teams planning to take her away. So that's going to be a challenge. And she knows that, and we're going to game plan for that. And, look at Nora on the other side. She's probably one of our best on-ball defenders. I would say she probably has been since she was a freshman. And I do feel like she's playing with a lot more confidence, mainly because of the experience she's had, and she knows what she needs to do to have success on the floor and how to help each other out too. And I do want to say, Nora, she's persistent. She's one of our best rebounders too. It doesn't matter who she goes up against. She's willing to get in there and scrap and find ways to rebound as well.
And then you take a look at what's behind some of those returners. It is a young core, and this is where the learning process is going to be brought in, because you are going to have to bring a lot of youngsters up to speed on playing the varsity game especially. But even through that process, it's a really good group of sophomores, and even the freshmen behind it saw a lot of success at the middle school level.
Yeah, both those groups have. And I would say dating back all the way to, the junior class, they've had a lot of success at lower levels. I expect them to be able to step up and find ways to grow this year. And we'll find ways to be successful. But it's not an easy task for anyone, making that leap from JV to the varsity level. There's always challenges you don't foresee occurring. It's that much more physical. The pace is that much faster. It'll be an adjustment for everybody. But, you look at the sophomore class, girls like Maggie Jelenik, Leah Meyer, Jolene Deerkeesing, Molly Gazelle, Jersey Trenkamp, Caitlin Raver. All 6 of those girls are going to get opportunities this year that maybe they didn't foresee getting last year. Based on where we're at the last 2 weeks of practice, I'm really like what I'm seeing from that whole group. They're putting their best foot forward. They've been really coachable. And if you look at, things from an outsider perspective, I think it's really easy to just assume things will be taking a step back or whatever. That's fine. We've been preaching to the girls. We're focused upon what we're trying to do on the floor and what's happening with the people in the gym on a day-to-day basis. So, our attitude this year is there's no expectation. We're going to go out there and give our best shot every night, and we're going to surprise some people.
I almost want to make a comparison to the football season. There's that learning curve that football had to take. Evan and I have talked about it. To the everyday fan, you're going to look some nights and to see a result, and that's what you're going to base your opinion on. I almost feel like it's the same thing with girls basketball this year. the everyday fan's not going to see the real learning that's occurring from a day-to-day basis.
I mean, without a doubt, even in years like even last year, like where you look back and you feel like we had some really, really good games and really good successes overall, you know, even though it ended in sectional the way it did, even the everyday fan, it could have been a 20-5 season and it could have been a 5-20 season. You know, ultimately what we want to see from our group is growth. We know adversity is going to hit at some point, whether that's with injury or just, you know, performance that we knew could have been better or was a lot better than it was, whatever it might be. Moving through the season, our ultimate goal is to be playing our best basketball by the end of the season. And if we can see growth and improvement through the whole group and we get everybody to buy in, you know, for us come February, then we're going to be happy with the results.
And of course, with the schedule that you guys play, we'll talk about your scrimmage here in just a little bit and what's to come in the regular season. But, you know, just alone, the EIAC prepares these girls, and they're going to be battle tested by the time the postseason rolls around. Greensburg, of course, is going to be a favorite once again, the EIAC. East Central, Lawrenceburg, you throw at Jennings County, who'll be a sectional opponent later on in the year outside of the conference. But, I mean, you guys do have a schedule that will build those girls towards that ultimate goal.
Without a doubt. I mean, there's a lot of games on our schedule we're looking at we know are going to be really physical, really fast-paced against some really talented players. But, you know, our focus is going to be on getting better day to day, week to week, taking it one game at a time. And if we feel like if we can really get girls to buy into the idea, you know, results will come later. That isn't stuff we need to worry about. We know adversity is going to come our way. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. But, you know, ultimately, like you said, the schedule is going to test us, and we hope we learn some things when we're tested. So that comes sectional time, you know, we can take advantage and find a way to be playing our best by that time.
Talking Batesville girls basketball, head coach Mitchell Taylor. I was wondering where my middle school fan base was Saturday morning, but I think some of them went to go watch you guys play at home on Saturday morning. So thanks a lot for that.
Sorry.
But no, you guys did get a chance to scrimmage at home on Saturday morning, taking on Waldron, which you know, they've got a familiar face as their new head coach with Doug over there. So you know that's a well prepared Waldron team. What were your takeaways from that scrimmage against the Mohawks?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we took away as a staff, and we kind of reflected in the locker room after, you know, we've been working a lot on our offense moving into this season, and it just being fluid and girls being comfortable. We really liked what we saw against man defense. I mean, we felt like we moved the ball incredibly well. Our girls were attacking, and when we had missed shots, we had girls attacking the board. So it was really, really happy with what we saw, and the progress we made in 2 weeks really kind of culminated on Saturday, and we saw it. And I was really proud of just the way the girls bought in, and you know, they saw the effects of what we've been doing the previous 2 weeks, and it just gives them that much more confidence moving forward to execute in that offense and be comfortable in it.
And I'm going to talk just coach to coach here, because when you are trying to get a new group or a newer group together and teach skills offensively, you fear that when you're teaching offense, if their spot doesn't work or one little hiccup occurs, there's that fear that everyone just kind of standing around wanting to do. Offensively, you have to be able to see the floor, attack, create on your own, because there's a lot of times where a defense is going to be able to break you down. You have to adjust the situations.
Yes, no doubt. And I think our offense this year, we're trying to give the freedom of play. We're trying to give girls options and triggers, and with those options and triggers, making the right read and not trying to hold them into, you need to be on a spot on the floor at this time, at this moment. I want to give credit to my staff. You know, my dad, we call him Coach T. There's a little confusion sometimes with our last name being Taylor.
It's about like Coach Burcham with baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Coach Hughes, and then Coach Hilton, our varsity assistant. And Coach Hilton's really taken the reins as our, you know, we kind of refer to him as the offensive coordinator. And I really feel like the offense we're running right now, one, the girls are buying into, like I said earlier, but it's about making reads. And the defense is going to give you something, and taking advantage of it and keeping the ball moving, and making them work as hard as they can to get the best look.
Thursday night is the season opener for you guys, and you talked about those teams that are going to challenge you. Well, you certainly got one Thursday night on the road, because Triton Central, year in and year out, has been one of the premier programs in Class 2A, and it's a program that will give any team fits.
So that got pushed. But that has not really been expressed anywhere online yet. So
thanks.
I don't blame you at all. Their volleyball team made it to semi-state, so that got pushed to later. But we are playing New Paul Saturday, which
Okay.
we know will be.
Well,
a
I had
test.
that one typed too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Helvey. Come on, buddy. Help me out a little bit. All right, so let's then talk Saturday. New Pal, nonetheless, has challenged you in the last couple of years.
Yeah, New Pal Gym, it'll be home this year, but just New Pal as an opponent, it's always going to sit with me because it was my first varsity game I ever coached. They're physical. They get up and down. They rebound really well. Things that, just looking at our team this year, I think we're going to be able to get up and down in transition. We're going to be able to make people pay, but the physicality is definitely going to be the one thing that is going to be a challenge for us. We're going to prepare for it this week. We're going to simulate it best way we can in practice. And really what we want is our girls to respond. We know we're going to come out. They're going to take some shots at us. We may take some punches to the face. We may get knocked down. But we want our girls to be able to handle that adversity, respond, and be able to play through it. So that'll be our focus this week. We know that physicality is going to be there. We got to find a way to finish possessions on the defensive end and not get them any extra opportunities on the boards.
All right, well, Coach, we'll go ahead and let you go. I'm going to go home tonight, change my Thursday night plans now, and not make the trip to Triton, but hopefully get a chance Saturday night to go see you guys play against New Pal. Start time for you guys on Saturday.
It'll be a 5 p.m. JV start, but we're actually only going to play 2 quarters, which it only got decided today. So I'm glad I could pass that to you guys. But
you're a wealth of information tonight. Thank you.
I'm here to give you whatever you need. But yeah, the varsity game will probably start around 6 o'clock, maybe a little before.
All right, Coach, sounds good. Be there on Saturday to cheer the Lady Bulldogs on. We'll talk quite a bit this winter.
Thanks, Rob. Always a pleasure.
All right, Batesville girls basketball head coach Mitchell Taylor joining us on Coach's Corner. Step aside, take a timeout. We'll talk girls basketball again, this time Milan girls basketball with head coach Carissa Voss. Coach's Corner delivered by Ison's Family Pizza on Country 103.9 WRBI.
When it comes to you and your family's health, finding a primary care provider you can trust makes all the difference. At Margaret Mary Health, our providers aren't just here for you when you're sick. They're dedicated to being your long-term partners in health. If you're looking for a medical provider to help keep your family well, give us a call or visit us online. Our primary care providers are accepting new patients in Batesville, Brookville, Osgood, and Milan. Margaret Mary Health. Generations of care.
It's back. Our delicious chicken bruschetta pizza is back. Cecil here. I'm interrupting this commercial for some important news. Our operating hours are changing to better serve our customers and to better take care of our team members. We will be closing at 8 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. That's right, our new hours are Sunday through Thursday from 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., then Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Come let us serve you. IsonsFamilyPizza.com, 812-933-0333 or 117 East George Street, downtown Batesville.
Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry continues. Watch us live on WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. And hear us live on the WRBI app and 103.9 FM. WRBI.
Coach's Corner resumes on this Monday night on Country 103.9 WRBI. Rob LaFerry with you. Just wrapped up Batesville girls basketball. And if you are just joining us, Mitchell Taylor dropping all the bombshells this evening that their season opener scheduled for Thursday night against Triton Central. That game has been pushed back. Then the actual opener for Batesville will be on Saturday against New Pal at home at the Dog Pound, 5 o'clock. It'll be JV 2 quarters on Saturday, and then that'll be followed up by the varsity game between the Bulldogs and the Dragons. So that is just a side note there for Batesville girls basketball. We turn our attention now to Milan girls basketball. She's in her 5th season, head coach Carissa Voss, and coach last season. I know in terms of the win-loss record, there's obviously some disappointment there being at 3-18, but I always feel like, especially the last couple of years, that it's been a gradual build for Milan. You've taken your bumps and bruises, but there is some good basketball being played when it's all said and done for you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say, like you said, in my 5th season, when I took this job, I definitely envisioned things being a little different the last couple of years. We've had a lot of changes, a lot of adversities. We've had players transfer, we've had injuries, we've had kids, choose to do other things in the winter. And so, but I am so proud of this group that has stuck around, these freshmen that have come out. Basketball is a hard sport to play, and it's a lot of work, and sometimes not a lot of reward for that work. And so for this program, I'm just really proud of these kids that are putting themselves out there and just continue to get better.
And last year you had a chance, there's not many teams out there that get to end the season with a win, obviously. You lose in the sectional to Oldenburg Academy, who goes on to win the sectional title. But prior to that, got a chance to taste some postseason success, a sectional win against Caruthersville. There are some little things at the end of the season that kind of allows for you to build some momentum going into the offseason.
Yes, absolutely. So when we look at those returning players, not having Emma Voss last season was a huge deficit for us. She's a huge team leader, a great just kind of field general, as you said earlier. She just she's the driving force on the floor. And so not having her last season, really also allowed Trinity Reed to step into a role that she necessarily wasn't comfortable with. But I think when you look at the dynamics of our team, will really help us in the long run. And so her being forced into that position to kind of be a ball handler gives us another option when they take Emma away. So
we'll talk about Trinity and Emma here in just a second. I do want to make the note that as you go into this year, you had a really good group of seniors last year that I know you're going to miss.
We did. That was a group that I started with when they were in the 5th and 6th grade. Great attitudes, lots of growth, did wonderful things for this program. We're definitely great role models for those underclassmen. And so those roles that they fulfilled will definitely be missed, and they're being filled by freshmen. And so it's definitely a rebuilding year for us. I can't really say enough about those seniors. Great kids. This freshman class that's coming in, super promising. They are a very competitive group. They are very just hard-nosed, hard workers. And so they will step into that role well, I think.
I know talking to Mitchell, and we just got done talking, about, even just the transition from JV to varsity. It's such a different ball game.
Yes.
With freshmen, you're having to make a leap, especially if you're seeing them envisioning playing significant varsity time. Boy, that's quite the leap from playing those middle school basketball games to going up to playing JV varsity basketball.
Yes, and unfortunately, that's going to have to be the case for some of these girls. We had Caroline McMillan last year. She was a freshman that came into a role and really showed a lot of growth throughout the season. And you talk about that postseason success. She was a big part of that. Her and Emma really develop some chemistry that will help us moving forward. And we just talked about this tonight. These freshmen are going to take a lot of bumps and bruises. There's a lot of acclimating that happens between 8th grade, and they did see some success as 8th graders. But just that adversity that they're going to have to adjust to, at the varsity level, the speed, the physicality. So I think they're ready for the challenge, but it's definitely going to be a process.
And in the off season, when you're playing those summer games, when you're a veteran group, I think you're just establishing kind of your name and your brand. With the young group, it's the opposite. You're just trying to get them those reps and those games to where you're just, like we said, just getting them acclimated to how high school basketball is going to look.
Yes, absolutely. And so we spend a lot of the off season just trying to get to know each other. Like, where's your skill set at? Who do you play well with? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do we need to look at moving forward? I would definitely say, this group is much more aggressive off the dribble. And so that has been nice to work with. Those are definitely skills that need to be, we need to continue advancing those ball skills, but they're so aggressive. And I just love coaching those types of players where they're hard nosed and they're ready to go, and you just have to kind of hone in on their skills and develop those. And
we've already mentioned the three names: Trinity, Emma, Caroline. They're going to have to not only be those leaders on the floor. There's a physical leader, but also a vocal leader. They're going to have to kind of share that. Even Caroline as a sophomore, there's a lot of roles for those three to take on to advance and bring up these young kids. Yes, absolutely. And I don't think that you could ask for three better upperclassmen. Just to talk about my seniors here for a little bit, they're remarkable kids. I mean, you look at them, you watch their success in varsity or volleyball, and just watch what they did with those younger kids. They love the game, they understand the game, and they really communicate it well, and then demonstrate it as well. So we're going to be without Trinity here for a little while. She was able to finish her volleyball season, but not released yet to play basketball. So that's definitely a missing component that we have. But when you look at those two seniors, I think across the board, I wouldn't take any two seniors off of our schedule other than those two. So, and then you look at Caroline, and she's really matured a lot as a player and as a person, and has really been able to communicate better with her teammates and is much more coachable and just open to getting better. And I know even going back a few Coaches Corners ago, we had Trinity and Emma on, and we are talking about just the different sports that they play, you've had a chance to see them play volleyball, play softball. The success that they've had in those sports, their understanding what winning looks like and what it means, I feel like that only helps the basketball program as you guys continue to try and grow your own culture.
Yes, absolutely. And I think having those two seniors that have had some success, it really gives a chance for those freshmen, sophomores, even juniors to learn from them. And that's something that when I took this program over, we didn't have those seniors. There were a couple, and then it was that freshman and sophomore group that were kind of leading the way. And so they were kind of trying to make their own way and figure things out. And I'm just really appreciative of them and all that they're going to bring to this program.
Talking Milan girls basketball with head coach Carissa Voss on Coach's Corner this evening. Last week, a preseason scrimmage against Oldenburg Academy. Boy, that's a measuring stick right there. We talk about all the youth and inexperience for you guys. David Disbrow is quite the opposite. He's got a lot of those weapons back. Just some things that you saw from facing the Lady Twisters in a preseason scrimmage to get you guys ready.
Yeah, so, we've talked about that's probably not a good gauge of where we're at skill-wise, right? Because they're a totally different team than us. And so that's not what our schedule is going to look like. These are the kind of things that we were looking for. We want to see where are we at, because we're going to have to run the ball. We're going to have to play fast. So what does are we in shape? Are we able to do that? Where are we at skill-wise with that? And then being able to space the ball. We have all these freshmen who just, when you're young and you're running quickly, they really like to just stand on top of each other. And so really emphasis on some foundational skills that are going to help us move forward as the season continues.
I always look at your guys' schedule when we do get to the regular season, and as you guys have went through these ups and downs, there's some of these games I think you'll look at this year and say, we're probably not quite ready for these yet. But there are also games on your schedule where you are going to look and say, you know what, we should be competing in this game. I mean, it is a good balance of learning at the same time being in line to compete for victories.
Yes, and I think it's super important for these athletes to be challenged, to understand that, the skills still have to continue to develop. And you can be a 4-year varsity starter, and there are still things that you need to work on. We talk every day about we need to be competitive, and we need to do what we can every day to be competitive and what that's going to look like. I put this out to the girls. We're probably not the most skilled team right now on our schedule with any opponent, but we can control the things that we can control. We can be in shape. We can get people tired. We can play fast. We can make layups. We may not be the best 3-point shooting team on our schedule for a little while, but that's something that we continue to work on. So let's find out what our attributes are and move forward with that and continue to build.
Season opens tomorrow night. You guys are going to be on the road against South Decatur. That'll be followed by another schedule change, a Saturday 3:30 start against Union County. But, right off the bat with South Decatur on the road, it's a test because it is on the road. And plus, that's a South Decatur team that's coming in as a Class A regional champion. Kristen, I know, has got a couple of those players back. So, right off the bat, we're going to see where your team stands, but you got to be able to take it and learn from it as you go to each and every game.
Absolutely, and that's what's so important is just building on each game, controlling what we can control, executing our game plan to the best of our ability, and just assessing after every game what we need to do to move forward and continue to be competitive.
And finally, Coach, to wrap up tonight, Mitchell and I had talked about this as well. From game one to the sectional, you are wanting to play your best basketball. I think that's going to ring true for Milan girls basketball again this year. But I think that as you go through, if you are seeing that progression and that improvement, that's going to speak volumes about the caliber of kids, and even from here on out, where the program is going to be heading given how much youth you have on the roster.
Yes, absolutely. And so I just think it's really important to keep them engaged. This is a long season. It can be really discouraging, especially for these younger kids who have had some success, and things may change. I'm not saying we're not going to be successful. I'm just going to say there's going to be an adjustment period. And so just keeping them engaged and getting them to buy in and trust what the coaching staff's trying to do and just keep moving forward and be competitive.
All right. Well, Coach will be following Milan all season long, and we wish you the best of luck tomorrow night at South Decatur, and we'll get this basketball season going.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Milan girls basketball head coach Carissa Voss joining us, and we'll step aside, take another TO back to talk high school football with North Decatur head football coach Steve Stern. Coach's Corner delivered by Ison's Family Pizza on the Sports Voice, Country 103.9 WRBI.
You only have one smile. Make yours the best it can be with Batesville Dental. For over 40 years, Batesville Dental has provided the latest technology in their state-of-the-art facility. They strive to make your visit a pleasure. Doctors Broughton, Liedermeyer, and Roberts and their staff offer preventative care, Invisalign, implants, extractions, and cleanings to keep your mouth healthy and your smile beautiful. Batesville Dental, 391 Northside Drive, Batesville. You only have one smile. Make yours the best it can be. Batesville Dental.
More Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, courtesy of Ison's Family Pizza. We're on 103.9 FM, streaming on the WRBI app. And you can see the show live on Facebook or WRBI-TV.com.
In case you
Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry continues. Watch us live on WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. And hear us live on the WRBI app and 103.9 FM. WRBI.
We promote ourselves so much and enjoy it so much. Well, if you didn't know, Rob LaFerry, Coach's Corner here on Country 103.9 WRBI. I got to make my on-site engineer, Annie Nunley, laugh at least a little bit this evening. We've wrapped up basketball talk tonight. Big thank you to Oldenburg boys basketball coach Michael Higdon, Batesville girls basketball coach Mitchell Taylor, Milan girls basketball coach Carissa Voss for all joining us tonight. And, of course, we've still got high school football going on around southeastern Indiana as we are joined this evening by North Decatur head football coach Steve Stern. Chargers are 8-2, getting set for a Class A Sectional 47 championship game this Friday night. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, but first, Coach, let's talk about that sectional semifinal matchup this past Friday. You guys are at home, 31-18 win over a very pesky Knightstown team.
Yeah, it's a good term for it. It was a tough game. It was a battle, literally. There wasn't any really common ground. We hadn't seen them in 2 years. Last time we actually played them was at home, and they were really down. The year before we played them in the COVID year. So new staff, new approach, new style of play. And you just don't know how you match up. So, you talk about pro football, college football, those guys spend a bunch of time on matchups. And I think the casual fan looks at records and points and that sort of thing, but you don't know until you get out there. Well, first of all, the thing that you notice is our quarterback he's the real deal. He's 6'5", 220, every bit of that. They got good size. They had good speed, lots of confidence. Back and forth, I made a note to myself. I think the first 4 possessions, no score. We just sort of muddled around. They had a turnover. We had a turnover. And one of the concerns of the night was we had 2 turnovers inside the red zone that probably took points off the board. With our kicker, maybe we don't score a touchdown, but we have a chance for 3 points. We do that early, and it changes the complexion, but it was both teams believing they're going to win for a long time. And then we get past those first 4 possessions, and I think there was a score, 4 of the next 5 or 5 of the next 6. It exploded. But part of that was getting a feel for each other. Mm-hmm. How are they going to play us? How do we match up? Where's the advantages? And honestly, they were in it to win it, and they were willing to take some risk. But that's what it is. You have to win to advance, and maybe some things a little bit unsound, but they were super aggressive. I thought our guys did a nice job of keeping their composure, and it's kind of like you chip away until you find the soft spot. And when you find it, you need to take advantage of it because it may not be there very long. But a game like that a lot of situations came up that maybe doesn't come up in a normal game. One, because they're going to do whatever they have to do to win. You're really nervous about the kick game. We executed in special teams. We had a fake punt that led to our first score, and then we had a kickoff return. So those 2 things held true and certainly have served us well all year. But we walked away the winner, and ultimately that's the goal. There was some parts that were not good looking, not as clean as you want, but it's about winning to advance.
21 points in the second quarter. You had 10 points there in that 4th frame. And, you go back to, sometimes not having a good feel of a team like Knightstown. And, everyday fans look at wins and losses, I feel like Sectional 47 has always got those kinds of teams. You look at a couple of these teams and maybe they're 4-4, they're 4-5, but then all of a sudden here they come. And sometimes that may just be for the fact that because of some different locations, you've got a couple of those teams coming who play really good schedules.
You do. And I've said this before, that I think geographically where you're located has a lot to do with the style in which you play. I think if you look at Knightstown's schedule, they throw the ball a lot more. It's a lot more wide open. Maybe defense isn't quite as important, but they put a premium on points, and they play that way, and they play free, and their kids are comfortable in that style. But if you go the other way and you get down into West Washington, it's a different geographical area, different physical approach, and this sectional, we blend them all together.
Talk about your semifinal, who plays well for you, who kind of gets some jobs done for you.
I thought Hunter Meister played really well defensively. He had a big catch for a touchdown on offense. Matthew Fields did a nice job of managing the game, distributing the ball, kept his composure, and you forget he's a sophomore. He's come a long way, but our offensive line, we pick an offensive lineman of the week, and honestly, we really couldn't discriminate because they all had moments, but collectively together played very well. That's it's Charlie Palmer, Adam Watley, Trenton Larison, Logan Foster, and Esley Atkins are our 5 starting linemen, and we tried to reward them all because I did think it was a good effort that ultimately resulted in 2 100-yard rushers for Thackeray and Barber, which we hadn't had. We had a 100-yard passer and 2 100-yard rushers. That's a good night.
Talk about your defense. You've allowed 30 points in this sectional. You only gave up 12 to Greenwood Christian. That 56-12 win in the opener, you give up 18 last Friday. It feels like there's some consistency happening with that defense a little bit again.
Yeah, we were tested. That idea of defending in space is always uncomfortable because your help is so far away. That there was a time in our program I felt like we used to get nervous, like when we were playing West Washington when they had the big backs and people would invite us into the phone booth, and I felt we really struggled with that because it just became physics. And then as things evolve and people learn you better, there's a lot to be said for spreading you out, and that gets the help farther away and can create some one-on-one matchups. But both of those teams so far are throw-first teams. 42 times at a high school game, that's a lot. I think they threw the ball at one time 29 times in a row. So we were tested, and we didn't always pass the test. It was a combination of coverage, or it was a combination of getting pressure on them. They just didn't connect enough to kill us. I felt like we were exposed a little bit. We're going to have to do better. But, again, people look at the points, but when you look at the style that they played, and again, I talked to our kids before the game. I talked at halftime about it. It's not about being pretty. It's not about getting style points. Every opponent's going to attack you their own way. It's survive and advance. And I thought our guys did a good job of not losing their composure. We had a couple broken plays that we didn't tackle well, and it got loose up the sideline that resulted in points. It wasn't a lack of effort. It's their guys' practice too. And their seniors want to keep things going. So it happens on a night like that. It was nice to separate score-wise so that it didn't come down to a one-score situation, because with their offense, they could do it in one play.
Kind of go back to a conversation we've had this fall multiple times where, if you are a Class A football program who wants to advance in the state tournament, you've got to get yourself acclimated to different styles, whether it be offense or defense.
There's no question that you see everything in 1A football, from 3 backs, 2 tight ends, everything's right there. Then you see no backs, and it's 5 wide. I think the variety in 1A, 2A especially is across the board. And then as you move up the ladder, it becomes more commonplace as to what happens. And some of that's based on the skill that you have. We've been very fortunate that our skill level stayed pretty consistent, and our guys, I think we've done a good job of developing. We're getting ready to graduate Corbin Thackeray, and we're going to hear the same thing that we heard when Reed Messer graduated and Logan Caney graduated, that now what are we going to do? Well, Alex Stern graduated at quarterback, and then Carson Palmer came, and then Mason Morris comes. We've been fortunate, but part of that too is by design. I think we do a good job of developing guys and putting guys in the right spots, but it is a thing. And if you're going to have success, you've got to be as versatile as you can. And I think football IQ matters. The first year I came here, they probably got sick of me saying it, but I'd said our football IQ's got to get better. It's kind of like being on the train tracks and not knowing you're in trouble, but you're in trouble. And again, we've gotten there, but you can't lean into that and say, well, it's been good, it's going to continue to be good. We continue to address that.
All right, we're talking North Decatur football with head coach Steve Stern on Coach's Corner tonight. 8-2 are the Chargers, and now they enter Friday night sectional championship game. They will be on the road at Milan, and it doesn't matter what the record is, doesn't matter how the bracket's set up, Coach. It's at this point just destiny. Every year the U2 teams are going to match up.
Seems to be that way, doesn't it? And you're right. Record doesn't matter, location doesn't matter. I don't know what the last 7-8 years looks like statistically, but what I do know is it's always close. I talked to our guys before week 3. We have a goal board. There's 20 goals that are distributed across the game. The biggest goal differential since 2019 has been 2. So it's been 11-9 has been the biggest discrepancy. There are years that we were fortunate enough to win, that we had a couple breaks go our way. There were years that we lost, and we were right there. And that was the message tonight. It's a close game. It's going to be a close game. The old-timers will tell you in a game like this, 4 to 6 plays are going to determine the outcome of a game, and you never know ahead of time. They don't stop the game and go, this is going to be one of those plays. So you got to play it out, and it's all the cliches come true. You got to play every play like it's the one that matters, and believe that in your heart of hearts. And of 2 opponents, I think, that know each other intimately, I would say the 2 of us do, just because we've had so many battles, and we have that tendency when we were no longer in the same conference, it was in the tournament. So the importance of it was up there. But even though we may not have played during the regular year, I think both of us, watched on the horizon what was going on.
Talk about the regular season matchup. That was only back on September 5th, 21-20 win for you guys, and it's a win that comes late, and obviously that a lot has changed since September 5th.
Yeah, I think the 2 teams are way different. We watched a little bit of it tonight with our guys from the standpoint more about watching us. Look how we've grown. Look at, I think any high school team can probably say that, but especially in 1A, 2A football, there's so much development. But if you go back to the summer, I said that I really felt like this group had some tremendous growth potential. We were young in some places. Your starting quarterback's a sophomore, so he's going to improve. But the offensive line has grown tremendously, and their experience and their confidence makes them play better. But I think Milan's evolved too. So that game is meaningless. And I know when we tried to set up the schedule, when we reformed the conference, that I think for everyone involved, it's smarter to have it earlier in the year. Our conference schedule is very front loaded, but I think if you play this game week 7 and 8, no coach is comfortable with that because there's not enough time to evolve. And I think that makes it tougher. But anything that you had that was successful in week 3 or wasn't successful, I don't think there's a strong connection. There's been so much happen in between for both teams.
As you guys now get ready for Friday night, you've still got 3 practice days left. But, Coach, kind of wrap up tonight, some keys for North Decatur in the sectional championship matchup.
I think special teams are going to have an impact in the game. I look at the last 2 years, the team that won the turnover battles. Again, every coach in America could say that. However, statistics prove it. We had 4 turnovers last year in the sectional finals. They had 0. They win the game. The year before it was flipped. I think they had 3. We had 0, and we win the game. So turnovers in a game like this is a premium. For us is, I think, start well. I think match the emotions. If there's anything about home and away, I think the home team has a certain level of of an advantage initially because there's a comfort in being home. Turnovers, have a little success early, and just get into a rhythm. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, I don't think you can beat your head against the wall and say, this is what we're going to do and this is who we are, because if we do that in this game, you're not going to be successful. At the same time, there's always something new. Because we both know each other so well, we've got to be prepared for, we talked about it as a staff, and we've got a little list that what if, not that we necessarily share it with the kids, but we need to be ahead of it. What if this and what if that? But I think making the adjustment, the team that adjusts quicker to whether it be the rain chances or a turnover or something new, the team that can make the adjustment better or quicker is going to have an advantage for some amount of time in the game.
7 o'clock kickoff on Friday night over at Milan, Coach. We will be there to broadcast, and I know I'm looking forward to calling that one. So we wish you the best of luck heading into the weekend. We'll talk to you on Friday night.
I appreciate it.
North Decatur Milan for the Class A Sectional 47 Championship coming up. That's North Decatur head football coach Steve Stern. We come back with some final words after this Coach's Corner on Country 103.9 WRBI.
We don't sell you cars, we help you buy them.
Fleetwood Chevrolet at 950 North Michigan Avenue in Greensburg invites you to visit them. They're here to help you with your next new or pre-owned vehicle purchase, as well as all your service and parts needs. They're the home of Greensburg's only drive-in service lane and free oil changes for life with the purchase of a new vehicle. Give them an opportunity to earn your business at Fleetwood Chevrolet.
We don't sell you cars, we help you buy them.
When looking for the highest standard of HVAC service and care, turn to Hurt & Elko, your local Lennox Premier dealer. Hurt & Elko and their Premier dealer status means you're certain to be working with a company who has the highest level of training, professionalism, and customer satisfaction. For a limited time, they're offering up to $1,900 in rebates on a brand new Lennox system or finance with low monthly payments. Call Hurt & Elko today at 812-934-4646 or visit them online at hurt-elko.com to learn more. Conditions apply. See dealer for details.
It's Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, delivered by Ison's Family Pizza. Listen on 103.9 FM and the WRBI app, and watch on our Facebook page or at WRBI-TV.com.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, and hard to believe we're approaching the 7 o'clock hour already, as we are back one final time from the Raver Corner tonight as a part of Coach's Corner on this Monday. Once again, a big thank you to our guests this evening. We'll go down in order. Oldenburg Academy boys basketball coach Michael Higdon, Batesville girls basketball coach Mitchell Taylor, Milan girls basketball head coach Carissa Voss, and North Decatur head football coach Steve Stern. A big thank you to all for coming out tonight. Want to remind you about our schedule once we get done here at Ison's this evening. Don't forget we've got Indiana Pacer basketball against the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll also have the Pacers on Wednesday night, 6:30 airtime as they take on the Brooklyn Nets. And then that gives way to Friday night high school football. 2 sectional championship games to be bringing your way. We already talked about this one on the FM dial and the WRBI app Friday night. North Decatur at Milan in Class A. That'll be a 6:40 airtime, 7 o'clock kickoff. Tom Snape and I will have the call. And then on the WRBI app only, and this is still a to-be-determined start time, this will be on the road at Whiteland, as the host Whiteland will take on East Central in a Class 5A sectional championship game. Winners advancing to a 1-game regional next weekend. And certainly we are pulling for all of our southeastern Indiana schools, and that includes a Class 3A sectional championship game this Friday night, Lawrenceburg taking on Greensburg. So a big thank you to all of you for joining in on the action tonight. Big thank you to Annie Nunley to my left, Brent Lee back in studio. And of course, a big thank you even more to our host, Ison's Family Pizza, for allowing us to serve up another episode to you tonight. So on behalf of Ison's, on behalf of Brent, and on behalf of Annie, I'm Rob LaFerry saying so long, and we'll huddle up again together next Monday night as a part of Coach's Corner, delivered by Ison's Family Pizza on the Sports Voice Country 103.9 WRBI.
Listen Monday nights at 6 for Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, live from Ison's Family Pizza. Come check out the show in person or listen on 103.9 FM or the WRBI app. And now you can also watch the show happen live at WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. From Southeastern Indiana's local sports voice, WRBI Batesville, Greensburg, Brookville, Versailles.